everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the No Limit Wrestling Show. I'm, as always, Dylan. I'm joined by my fabulous co host, Xavi, and I'm also joined by my usual co host over on Stardom Quest, our special guest, our first guest for episode 3 for this show, Alex Richards. Please introduce yourself first, Alex, and then Xavi gets to go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I feel like if somebody knows you two, they know me by now. Dylan, we are attached to the hip. I don't think we do anything that isn't a duo thing. Like we do shows together at this stage. People invite both of us. Um, but if you somehow don't know me, yes, I'm the host of Stardom Quest, which is where you can usually find Dylan. But this time I get to sit back and be the annoying one while he tries to keep things on track. It's going to be great.
I know it's kind of become this thing where it's like we're almost a package deal. And like sometimes that's
Hmm.
great, and I love it because I'm happy that I chose a good co-host that I am attached to the hip at. But sometimes it's like, oh, we're around each other too much. This is gonna be bad.
Very, very. This is our fourth show in the space of like 7 days, and then we're
Yeah,
doing tomorrow as well. So
yeah,
we're just gonna we're gonna hate each other soon.
yeah. After that, I think we're taking a little not break, but after that, it's like one per week, so we're good with that. But
Yeah.
and my always co-host on No Limit Wrestling Show, Xavi. I'm sorry for cutting you off. How you doing, buddy?
How the fuck did I go last? This is also my show. Why didn't
I
Alex
know,
go
I know.
last? You know what? It's fine.
I introduced the guest too early, and then I didn't want to be like, "Now shut up, guest. Xavier's here." You know what I
We
mean? So
could have.
I messed that up. I messed that
We
up.
got
It is
away with it.
Alex. I could have done that.
Yeah. So we kind of had a foregone conclusion that Alex would be the first guest. I like to joke that I'm blacklisted from Stardom Quest, even though I'm not. But I like to joke and say that. But we figured we'd have Alex on first because I mean, who the fuck else do we have? I mean, Scott's a boring first guest. We'll have him on second.
Yeah, he'll be on like next month. Don't worry.
Yeah. We'll have to get Beth on one since we've had your co-host. We'll have to get we had your British co-host. We have to get my British
I'd
co-host.
love to
And
talk to Beth because I don't think I've ever like talked extensively about wrestling with Beth before, and I like she's awesome.
Beth's a fucking lunatic. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that right now.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
did
fine.
I did Xavier's show like twice maybe with Beth, and it was always an interesting time.
Yeah. I was about to lose my mind because, like I said, two British wrestling enthusiasts going back and forth talking about people I have no idea who they are. And I was
The
kind of
pride,
lost, but it's fine.
the pride of Essex, is on the
The
show today.
pride of Essex.
Um,
Uh,
What's like the
so,
most disrespectful thing we could say to him? But yeah, go ahead, Xavier.
but yeah, so we are watching the Ayumi Kurihara retirement show today, and Alex, you suggested the show. Usually, what we do is we explain why we picked this show, and I know for a fact you have no reason why you picked this show, but go ahead and explain why you picked this show.
Somewhat.
Okay,
Just roll with it. Roll
so
with it. Say why.
there was actually more thought put into this than you'd expect because I was like, I want to watch a Joshi show, obviously, because I'm not
Mm.
watching men wrestle. Like, that's not happening. So I was like, I'm gonna watch a Joshi show, but a lot of Joshi cards are like really bad until the last couple of matches.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then I didn't want to watch one of the big AJW shows because my initial idea was like Dream Slam or Legacy of Queens or something, but I do not have 5 hours to watch these
I would have
shows.
fucking killed you
Yeah,
if you had me watch a
yeah,
5 hour show.
exactly.
Oh yeah, I
So
mean this show, No Limit, almost ended after the first episode because I made him watch all together, which was
Yeah, and that
so
yeah,
shit was
fucking
that's
long.
that's
forever.
pretty
It
that's
was
crazy.
so long.
Yeah, that's
And this show
torturous.
almost never continued because we were talking with Scott about what shows he want to watch, and he almost brought up New Japan. I said, I will fucking end this show and never do it again.
Yeah, so I was like I was cool as AJW and JWP were I'm not watching 4 hours of Joshi. So I settled on a produce show from an era where there was just enough good wrestlers to have a full card, but the cards were
Yeah.
not big because if you had any more than 5 matches, you were doomed. So here we are. Ayumi Kurihara getting to rep one of the best of her era. So
I feel
it's
like
good stuff.
that's most Joshi companies from like a certain point up until like fairly recently. If you run too many matches, you are fucked.
Yeah.
A little bit,
I
a little
mean,
bit.
it still happens now. Like Pure J runs these 5 match cards. You're like, if you had one more, like we're done. So like it's not
I
happening.
mean, theirs is different because they mostly just run dojo shows. It's just like
Yeah.
these
That's true.
these companies in the past they were trying to run like venues that we're actually familiar with, and it's just like y'all do not have the expenses to be doing this. So
Yeah, so I think since you did choose the Ayumi Kurihara produce show, which is entitled, for anybody that doesn't know, Thank You for Everything. It was her retirement show in
Mhm.
2013. Almost 10 years from now. Like around
Oh yeah.
the time this comes out, it'll be like a week before the 10-year anniversary of her retirement.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, that's I think it's kind of important maybe to go into Ayumi Kurihara and just her kind of history. I usually I write down a ton of notes just that don't really matter. Nobody else really needs to. But yeah, Ayumi Kurihara first trained in A to Z in 2004, but she left A to Z to train in M Style, which I didn't know was a company until like a
Oh.
week and a half ago. Um,
That was my
she
company.
she trained in M Style, and M Style was a company from like 2004 2006. Doesn't even have like a graphic that I could find on like Cage Match.
That's
The
sketchy.
the graphic was actually on the ring. It was the centerpiece of the ring, the center uh advertisement. That
Hmm.
was the M Style, and it was called M Style because it was headed by Marika Yoshida,
Hell
Mika
yeah.
Kino, Mikiko Fudagami, and Momoi Nakanishi. So four people with their names starting in M. That's M Style. Ayumi trained there. That was like really her pride and joy, and then that closed down in 2006. From there, she was a freelancer, and now she's married to Yoshihashi. So that's where if you're a New Japan fan and you hear, oh yeah, Yoshihashi married a Joshi wrestler,
This is
this
her.
is her. This is her. Yeah, um,
This is the one he had 16 kids with.
that's insane.
Literally all the stories I hear from like New Japan foreigners on like podcasts talking about them meeting Yoshihashi is he's got like a football team full of kids. So like I imagine he just walks in the show with like fucking kids hanging off his arms, his legs. This big dad guy.
Yeah, shouts out Yoshihashi. But yeah, that's some of the notes about Ayumi Kurihara. How did you guys? I'll start with you, Xavi. What were your predictions going into the show? Like, whether it's positive or negative. What were you kind of looking at the card and thinking, okay, this is how I feel going into watching this, before you necessarily turn it on?
Looking at the card, I was, for most retirement shows that we see now, they're well, especially this year, they've been pretty grand necessarily. A lot of grand ones, like a lot of big cards, especially earlier this year. But this was a few years ago, well, quite a bit ago, actually, almost 10 years. Um, so I really didn't looking at the card, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, this is an interesting produce card to say the least, but not necessarily in a bad way. I just didn't, know what to expect really. But I was interested whenever I was going up and down the card. I was like, oh, I mean, this seems like it'll be pretty cool. Um, for like where we usually predict our matches of the night and worst matches of the night. Worst matches of the night, I really didn't have an idea. I was just like, I really don't know. I don't have an expectation for something to be bad. I just picked the battle royal just because I don't like battle royals. And then I predicted that Sari and Ayako Hamada would probably be match of the night because even though it was young Sari, I still like Sari and I like Ayako Hamada. So I was just excited to talk about Ayako Hamada match. But I was also interested that Kurihara had two matches on the show. I was like, oh, that's wild. I guess you just want to get it all out of your system in this night, but cool.
And then Alex, how are you feeling going into the show? I don't know if you've seen it before, or not, but how are you feeling just predictions wise? Like, did you have a match that you were drawn to, most excited for? What were you kind of expecting from the card?
Yeah, so I've actually watched the opener before,
Mm.
Kurihara and Ida. It's on my, infamous legendary sheet of cool matches, which is very prestigious. So I was like, at the very least, there's going to be one good match. And then I saw the 6-woman tag, and I was like, old woman Dynamite Kanzai is going to beat the fuck out of somebody. I don't know if we're allowed to swear, sorry.
You're good.
But old
Have you
woman
met us?
Dynamite, yeah, old woman Kanzai is going to destroy somebody. And I was like, that's great. And then Aja Kong in the main event is never bad. So I knew there would be at least one good match, and then there was enough like cool veterans that I knew the rest would be okay. But yeah, that battle royal, I was eyeing it up. I was like, man, Joshi battle royals are never good. This is not going to be a fun time. So
See, I was a bit concerned about the legends versus young wrestlers, the sex.
that's on you for
6 women.
doubting
Um,
Dynamite Kanzai and
no, and
Sonoko Kato.
it's funny because I always talk about like one of my favorite matches of the 2010s in Joshi is Dynamite Kansai's retirement match. But I was kind of looking at it, I was like, Dynamite Kansai in 2013, that might be a little tough. You know what I mean? And Ryo Mizunami in 2013, I wasn't expecting her to kind of show out as much as you expect her to have like evolved so much in ring, but really like she was going crazy at that time. We'll talk about that when we get to the match. But for me, I think the biggest predictions were definitely I was with Xavi. That was like Hamada and Sari is the one I'm kind of penciling in is like, oh, that looks like it'll be a good look into Sari's early career. That'll be fun. Kana, Sakura, Hirota is a crazy dream team, so I was excited for that. Um, and yeah, I mean, just the main event, I think that there is such beauty in Joshi retirement matches that I was really excited to see it, even though I haven't seen much of Kurihara during her active career. So I was kind of like, oh, well, there's gonna be something to that and the ceremony as well. So I was excited for that. And I also pretty much echo you guys' sentiments that it's like the battle royal, a little bit eh. I was a little worried about that. And then, yeah, like I said, the 6-woman tag, I was a bit concerned, but it ended up
That's on
being
you, man. I was intrigued by the 6-woman tag just for the fact that old women Dynamite Kansai could either be very bad or very good.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, again, it was more like a slight like that might be a little but it wasn't like a oh it's gonna be dog shit. Like there have been matches that I've seen on paper that I was like oh that's gonna be freaking terrible, bro. Uh, and including ones that we've reviewed on this show. So like this is nowhere near that, but like I was a little bit like maybe this is just a bit of a mess, but it wasn't. It was perfectly fine. And yeah, I guess we should get into the show. This was Ayumi Kurihara's sixth and final self-produced show. It took place in Korakuen Hall, and it allegedly, but I said allegedly at first, but then I saw the crowd. It looked like it. 1,813 people. So pretty big for Korakuen Hall, especially at this point in time. Um, it's funny. Me and Alex actually just talked about on Stardom Quest last week that we were like trying to estimate what the capacity was for Korakuen Hall. I'm pretty sure the highest New Japan ever did was like 1,800. So this was like the biggest Korakuen for an all for compared to New Japan, I guess you could say. But I guess you could stuff it a bit more if you aren't following fire codes. The technical capacity is like 2,000. Like the highest ever, I'm pretty sure is like 2,000. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty
I don't know about
insane
that
still.
though. Like that's
Yeah. Because, like I said, I remember watching like a New Year's Dash a few years ago, and it was like, oh, you can't fit another human being in this fucking building, and I think they always capped it at like 1,800. So this was like at the top end of a Korakuen Hall show, and for a Korakuen Hall show in 2013 for a Joshi show, it's kind of insane in my opinion. I don't know if you guys are big. I know Alex, you're a bit interested in the attendance stats, but
I
1,800 is a
usually
bit
am.
insane. 1,800 is a bit insane for 2013 Joshi. I would think
Yeah.
that's safe to say.
Yeah, for like a career, and no offense to Ayumi Kurihara, but a career like jobber to the stars kind of person, like she
Mhm.
would team with Kana and get pinned. That is a lot.
She was
I
mostly a
don't.
tag wrestler as far as success wise. She didn't have like single
Yeah,
success to justify this big
yeah.
attendance.
So it's very strange, but I guess having like Aja, Dynamite Kanzai, Kato, and all them, like they were
Mhm.
pretty big with Oz at the time because Oz like 10 years ago was doing crazy numbers. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine it was a lot of the Oz fans showing up for the legends and then going, "Oh, Ayumi's cool too."
I think there was also I think the show, and we'll get into it. The show was kind of like a teller of the time, right? Like this felt like a time capsule of post Gaia, Joshi wrestling before Stardom really started picking up. Obviously, Stardom was pretty successful by 2013. Don't get me wrong, but before like Stardom became far and away the company. Like this is like a time capsule for that time. Yeah, I think Oz Academy is kind of the best kind of focal point you could look at for that because all these wrestlers, a lot of these wrestlers were in Oz Academy at the time. But like for someone who hasn't seen a ton from that era, this really felt like it encapsulated what it was like from like throughout Ayumi's career, I guess, because Ayumi started in 2004. She started kind of popping off by 2006, I believe, is when she like became like an actual wrestler because she was a trainee in 2004 and all that stuff. So I feel like this was a real time capsule for this era of Joshi wrestling.
A pretty sad one.
But yeah, I guess without any further ado, we can just get into the show itself. The copy we were watching was totally legitimate, but it was 360p, so we couldn't make out everything at all times. But it was fun to watch. It started with like behind the scenes clips of Ayumi during her last photo shoot as an active wrestler. You know, debuting her retirement gear with the photos, and then some clips of Ayumi setting up the ring with everybody. Her bouquets, there were plenty of bouquets for her retirement show, and then the show actually got started with Mika Ida versus Ayumi Kurihara. Xavi, I'll jump to you first. How did you feel about this match? I believe your first watch, right?
Yes. Yes, this entire show is my first watch. This is also my first watch of Mika Ida. Mika Ida is one of the many people on this show that I know specifically from TW saves where they just don't make Joshi company, so they're just all sitting in free agency. But basically I love this match. Like, I'm not gonna tell you how much I love it because it kind of spoils what we do at the end, but I absolutely love this match. Mika's like starting off immediately with the repeated forearms. It's like, oh, we're cooking off rip. I like this. So Mika Ida does like this really sick grounded octopus hold whenever she pins Kirihara, and Kirihara kicks out. Like as soon as she kicks out, she locks her in like a grounded octopus hold that I really really liked. Ayumi Kurihara is kind of one of the best to ever do it. I don't know if any of y'all know this. She does backstabbers and lung blowers and like the Joshi basement drop kick in the ropes. She's kind of fucking sick if y'all have never seen it. um, Mika has like the most insane look on her face during this match when they're doing the elbow trading strike exchange. And like it just is she just looks mentally insane. I don't know if I want to say that, but that doesn't matter because as soon as she goes off the ropes after that, Kirihara just fucking elbows her right in the throat. And then Mika Ida, I texted y'all about this because it was just the most insane thing I've ever seen. Mika Ida does a shoot headbutt to set up a European clutch. And at this point I was just like, this is already over 4 stars. I don't know where this is gonna land. This is already over 4 stars for me. But Kirihara getting the win with the shoot headbutt followed by the Sambo suplex or the Uranagi, whatever you want to call it.
I believe she called it the Uranagi.
Well, the commentary said Sambo, so I didn't fucking know, man. I'm a big commentary guy. If you don't know, I knew everything they were saying this whole night.
You
so
love Kevin Kelly.
Shut the fuck up!
I knew he was
Don't you come? Don't you come on this?
Show.
Don't you come on the show and do
Shout
this?
out to Ian Riccaboni. I like Ian. Ian's cool. Best English
God.
commentator. But that's
just know. Whenever I get a Stardom Quest appearance, I'm plotting something devious. Don't you? But anyway, I absolutely love this match. This was a crazy opener because this set the bar like insanely high for the rest of the night.
Yeah. I kind of saw it as I thought it was just going to be like kind of typical teacher versus student match. Honestly, being me, seeing someone named Ida crying as their trainer comes out to wrestle them in one of their last matches, I immediately connected this to the Kagetsu Sai Ida match on Kagetsu's retirement show. But
yeah, this Ida actually wins.
Like, yeah, no, yeah. I soon realized that it's like, first of all, shut up. I soon realized that this is a real, this is a real nasty match. Even though it was their only their second singles match ever, according to Cage Match at least. So that was pretty incredible. Yeah, Alex, did it live up to your first viewing? Do you still think it's that spreadsheet worthy match? Because I thought it was great, but do you still think it lives up to that hype you set for it?
Oh, obviously, yeah. They're both dogs. Like Mika Ida rocks. I don't know who needs to hear this. She's like, I've always wanted to watch more of her, but she was a regular like Wave and Ice Ribbon back when they were very difficult to find. So I've just been like, yeah, it's fine. I'll get around to it someday. But she's great, and Kurihara really wanted to give her a lot, and she did. So even though Kurihara was like physically breaking apart by this point, she gave a lot in this one. So yeah, they just killed each other. It was great.
The shoot headbutts, which you later find out in the next match that they were that's what Yumi was known for. Was the shoot headbutts. Yeah, they were nasty because Mika hit one. I was like, oh, that wasn't right. Then Ayumi hit one, and I was like, that's worse. That was worse. And I was like freaking out. Yeah, that was a really great match. Yeah,
I think more Joshi wrestlers should do shoot headbutts.
No, I tweeted yesterday that like we talk about like Kensuke Sasaki, how he just started using the Northern Lights bomb because he was a big wife guy. Where's Yoshihashi's headbutts? That's my question. Like
he's too busy.
The New Japan roster would literally cry.
Yeah,
dog. like, bro, whenever him and Kurihara got married, whenever they said "I do," they probably didn't even kiss. They probably just shoot headbutt at each
Yeah.
other. Nobody on New Japan's roster is ready for that smoke. I'm gonna be honest with you. Gabe
That's true.
Kidd takes one of these Yoshihashi shoot headbutts. His Twitter rants are going to be even more insane. It's going to be over.
We're never gonna survive. Yeah, no. They're gonna be nuclear. But yeah, I thought this match was really, really fun. It was only 9 minutes as well. Ayumi won in 9 minutes with the arm trapped Uranagi specifically. Uh, yeah, I thought it was great for a 9 minute match. That was, two people I've never seen really before. I've never seen a full match of either of theirs. This is my first, and I thought this was really, really fun. And it was a good send off singles wise for Ayumi Kurihara. They will both appear in the main event as tag team partners, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Any closing remarks about this match specifically before we move on?
I'm willing to go as far as to say it's one of the top 5 matches I've ever seen under 10 minutes at least.
Wow, that's actually insane. It was great, but that's wild.
That is crazy. Good for you, though.
Yeah. And then the next match was Kana and Kyusei Ayumi Kurihara, who is Sakura Hirota, versus Mio Shirai and Shu Shibutani. I think everybody deserves to have a Kyusei version of themselves wrestle on their retirement show. Maybe not everybody, but everybody I like. You know what I mean? Like I think like if I was a wrestler, my dream would be to retire and at my retirement show for Sakura Hirota to cosplay me and do my moves. Like that was, and oh my god, and her rendition of Ayumi Kurihara here was so good as well. She even used the squeaker voice to try to emulate Ayumi's voice. I don't know if you guys peeped that, but like she would just yell and it would be so like high pitched. I was like, damn, she committed to the bit. I respect it. And yeah, I thought this was really funny. We can get into some of the spots, but how did you guys feel about this match? I'm starting with Alex here. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, it was good. It was a nice mix of Kana just like doing comedy, which is what she always truly wanted to do deep down.
Yeah.
And trying to like kick the shit out of Mio Shirai, who was like, nah, nah, you don't try that shit with Mio Shirai. But yeah, it was just a nice mix. Seeing Sakura Hirota in her element is always fantastic. She is the single greatest wrestler to have ever walked the planet. And yeah, Kana was just very funny because she was like, "Oh, I get to rev up and poke people in the butt. Let's go." So it was, it was
She
a
was
good time.
so excited. She was so into it.
And Mio Shirai is cool. I haven't seen a lot of her, but she is pretty chill. So it's always good to see her as well.
Mio Shirai long touted the better Shirai sister.
Yeah, I mean
That's
that
for
always
sure.
happens. The one who gets pushed is never the good one. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
we're looking at you, Toyota and Yamada.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Shouts out Yamada. But yeah, Xavier, how do you feel about this this kind of changing the pace with the comedy of Sakura Hirota?
I, I, one day we're gonna start a dialogue about how Sakura Hirota is one of the single greatest wrestlers to ever lace up a pair of boots.
Let's go. Let's do
Sakura
it. I'm here for it.
Sakura Hirota is not only is she genuinely funny, although I know a lot of people don't like her current day comedy stuff. Like she's
I still
so
think
funny.
her current comedy's really good. Personally.
Yes, I think she's hilarious, and she's also like a really good wrestler, so that also doesn't hurt anything. Shu Shibutani, also another one of those TEW free agent legends. But I love the fact that Kana got to do her comedy in this one, but I cannot tell you how like happy I was when her and Mio just started slapping the shit out of each other. I was just like, please, please. And then, it got brought back down to, level ground. But I was so excited for that little like 15 seconds we got. But I had a blast watching it. Of course, it was a change of pace from the opener, but I loved it. Once again, Sakura Hirota, the GOAT. I will not take any slander from her about her from anybody. I don't care.
Yeah, I think she's great. I think, and not to like diverge too much, but I think that like she had that run with the Regina Championship a couple years ago that like completely that's when I first started watching Wave, and I was like, oh, she's like really fucking good. And then I found out, oh yeah, she's just meant to be a comedy wrestler. My introduction to Hirota was that she was a very good wrestler. And then I remembered that. Then I started seeing clips, and I was like, oh yeah, she's the comedy wrestler, not the main event top. Like the top dog of the company. She's more comedy, and I love both of those years for her.
Mhm.
This match was definitely her. Zeroing in on the comedy, and she was doing a great rendition, like I said, of Ayumi Kurihara doing her cosplay. Um, for those that don't know, Kana and Ayumi Kurihara were a tag team, and they were very close friends. One of those produced shows that I mentioned earlier was a Kana and Kurihara produced show, so they've done ventures together before this. They're very
Mhm.
very close, and Kana treated Hirota like she was Ayumi. Like after the match, she like hugged her so hard. I was like, that's so sweet, but that's Sakura Hirota, you know that, yeah? Uh, but yeah, I thought this was a fun match. I will say Shushi Butani is what me and my friends call a spot ruiner. She kept fucking up Kana's shit, bro. She every time Kana was trying to do a comedy bit, Shu just got in and like kicked her, and Kana was like, "I'm gonna kill you if you do that one more time."
Shu Shibatani is actually wrestling Twitter whenever comedy wrestling happens.
It's true.
Wow.
Shibutani is Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Scott just got in a little argument yesterday about him not being too big on.
Oh, I sent Alex the screenshot of what
Yeah.
I said.
He sent with the screenshots. That's great. But yeah, I think this was like a really fun match. Hirota She committed. She committed to the bit. I think that's the most important thing
She
to know
always
about this
does.
match.
She's such an icon.
She hit a shoot headbutt, and you could just see before and after all of the regret in her body. Like why is this the gimmick I chose for myself, that I have to do other people's shit, and when they do shoot headbutts, I just have to do shoot headbutts? Why am I here? I shouldn't be here. What? I need to stop. This shouldn't. And then she hit it, and then she's like, "Oh, I
You,
shouldn't have done that.
you know what's
That
funny
shit
about
sucked."
your introduction to Sakura Hirota, Dylan, is she's a comedy wrestler, yet when she held Waves World title, it meant more on the comedy wrestler than it does now on the
Oh, 100%.
international superstar.
100%. That's what I mean. Is
That's
that's like what.
that's giving a lot of grace to Shida.
Yeah.
Superstar.
When I
I
That's
don't
what I
know,
mean, is
man.
that when I got into Wave, it was
Compared
probably
to
at
other
the
wrestlers
peak
in
of that
AEW,
year.
she's a superstar.
Well, I mean, making TV once every 3 months kind of makes you a pillar of that women's division. So
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, brother. Let's not dive in, brother, because I don't want
Oh,
to.
I have another AEW note on the
Oh,
Oh,
on this
Lord.
show.
that's fine.
It's
That's
good.
fine.
No, it's a fun one. It's cool.
It's
It's
never
cool.
fun.
But yeah, I agree with you, Xavier, that like Sakura Hirota brought like a lot to that belt when she held it, and obviously we're talking a couple years ago. We're not talking 2013. So it's a bit of a side.
Sakura Rhoda should beat Tam Nakano for the World of Stardom
I'm
Championship.
rocking with it.
Yeah, let's
Man,
do it.
I forget who it was that I was like, I need Sakura Hirota. I think it might have been like Koguma. I mean, actually, there's like a lot of wrestlers in Stardom that I'm just like, not that I want Sakura Hirota to go to Stardom, but it's like, bro, if I can get an Azumi Sakura Hirota match before they both hang it up, that's a dream match, like a legitimate dream match, just because I think they could both kind of get
Starlight
it.
Kid will make it happen. She loves Wave.
She does love Wave.
That's
She's
true.
about catching the wave.
That's
So
that's one thing I got to give to her. And I actually just sent to Alex earlier, since we're on the note of Sakura Hirota, one of the biggest pops in Marvelous this entire year was the announcement that Sakura Hirota's Unagi's opponent at the next Gorkin show, um, like her hand-picked opponent by Takumi Iroha, is is Sakura Hirota, and the crowd went insane.
That's what
It
happens
was
when you're the biggest
great.
wrestler in modern Joshi.
Yeah, I mean, like she's one of those wrestlers that really just kind of transcends. I think I mentioned about like Dragon Kid, which is a very funny comparison. Dragon Kid and Sakura Hirota, but just one of those wrestlers that's like, even if you don't watch Wave, I feel like you gotta know Sakura Hirota. Like Sakura Hirota is just that wrestler. She's just like I said, she transcends. And I thought this match was really really fun. Like Xavi said, I thought Kana and Mio Shirai did some really good stuff there for a minute, and then Shibutani rolled up Sakura Hirota after she yelled "Thank you for everything," or she yelled at Arigato, and then went for Uranagi and got rolled up, and it was 13 minutes, which was
incredible.
really really fucked up. Like everybody was like, "Man, fuck this spot ruiner over here. Fuck Shibutani." But everybody loves Shibutani. That's a terrible name to say
Crazy
fast.
she got the win when who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
I
no,
was
like
going to
really.
say, has she like ever won ever?
I
Like
don't
really,
know.
like Mio Shirai was her tag team partner. Like
Yeah.
even then, like
I was putting together a 2011 Joshi company. I'm like, who the fuck is Shu Shibatani? Why should I
Yeah,
sign
you
her?
guys
Other
know
than the
me.
fact I need people.
Yeah. I mean, I know more random old wrestlers than anybody, but even I'm like, I couldn't tell you 2 matches Shu Shibatani ever had. So Yeah,
Shouts out
great.
Itsuki Hoshino, real
Hell
one.
yeah, future ace
Oh,
would have been
oh,
ace.
I miss her. I miss her
Yeah.
dearly. Yeah, I think that's all there is to be said. Unless you guys have closing words on that match before we move on.
Nah,
No.
we gave all the right people the right props.
Yeah, I agree. The next match was the match I was worried about, but it ended up being pretty fun. It was Carlos Amano, Dynamite Kansai, and Sunoco Kato against Ayayuki, Ryo Mizunami, and Sawako Shimono. Sawako rocking the do-rag, guys. That's the first note. That's the
Oh,
first note.
yeah.
She was rocking the
Sawako is
do-rag.
great.
I
She's
like
great.
I was like, that is a look and a half. I love her for that. What are you laughing about, Xavi?
So, okay, I watched this match at like 12 a.m. this morning. I just want that to be known. And I was writing notes, and instead of Sunoka Kato, I have written down Snooki Kato. I don't know why this
Snooki
happened.
actually made her debut a couple years earlier than this. She was not on the show.
I don't know how this happened. I just realized I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Snooki
Okay,
Kato. That's
okay,
great.
continue on. Continue on.
That's crazy. Yeah, Sawako rocking the do rag. Because I mean I didn't know she was wavy like that. Turns out she
Mm-hmm.
had alopecia, but she was rocking it. You know, she was rocking the look. And yeah, this was a youngins versus a older wrestler. I think Ryo Mizunami was the most experienced on her team, and she debuted in 2005, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Um,
4.
yeah, 2004. So she was the most experienced. On the other side, obviously, Diamond Kansai was wrestling in the 80s. Like she was Miss A back then. So, and Snooki Kato was 95. Carlos was also a long time veteran. So this was a very clear dynamic here of the youngins against the legends. And I thought that was kind of what carried this match through the entirety of it.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier, I'll start with you. How did you feel about this match overall as a 6-woman tag?
First of all, I also had a note about the do rags. I said, I said next time we all record together, we should all wear do rags. um,
I fear that may get me cancelled. I don't know.
no,
Maybe
it's
not.
I,
fine.
I
It
feel
would
No,
get
like
you.
Daniel Garcia can do it. It's fine. You got it. I have, I
That's a good
have,
one.
I have Mocha Harui's on commentary, and that popped me so hard. Big love the Mocha Harui. Actually, one of the memories I have the most about modern pro wrestling is every Gon Pro show I've watched up until she went on hiatus. There was a specific guy in the crowd who, anytime Mocha Harui's theme song hit, would just start yelling over everybody. And I miss that man dearly. She just went on hiatus. It made me very sad. But anyway, um, actually on commentary they said it was Oz versus Wave, which and I said
Mm.
that makes sense because this Oz team is old as hell. Um, I said this isn't the Nikki that we've come to love, but you can see the groundwork at least to
Yeah,
she
I
was getting
actually.
there.
What was funny because I think in ring she was like really like quite good, especially
Hmm.
considering nowadays I think she's one of the best and definitely one of the most underappreciated Joshi wrestlers in the world. Um, Even though she had that AEW run, I feel like people still don't, still kind of see her as just like I don't know.
Well,
I think Aniki deserves the world personally.
that like AEW run happened during like a what I considered like a down period for her. Like she may have
Yeah,
had like a match or two like in Seed that I liked, but like for the most part she wasn't really rocking to where she is now to where it feels like she can sleepwalk into a good performance.
I mean she's the highlight of TJPW and she doesn't even work there. Um, that
It's
was a
not
little
hard.
dig. That was a little, yeah, that was a little dig there. But no, I felt like
Not
Ryo
a big dig.
Mizunami was. It looked like she was cosplaying Ryo Mizunami, if that makes sense. It felt like she was like trying to be what Aniki is. She's trying to get that down, but she just wasn't quite there yet. And I always found that kind of funny. But sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, continue.
No, that's fine. That's a good note. I said, with that previous text in mind where I called everybody old, I do like Sonoko Kato.
Yeah,
Let's see. I said I didn't expect Dynamite Kansai to bump at all, but she actually like did bump, and I was like shocked. I was like, she might be immobile, but she was throwing some nasty kicks. It's like her kicks weren't like they don't have like a sharpness to it, like say a Katsuhiko Nakajima does, but they were like super heavy, if that makes
yeah, no,
sense.
yeah, I totally get what you mean.
But yeah, that's all the notes I had for it. I was having myself a good time watching the Oldens versus the Youngins.
I think the kick thing is an interesting conversation to have a little bit because I know Alex is also a big kick aficionado when it comes to wrestlers. Um, is I think there is definitely like that difference because I think you could see it in like
Mhm.
Arisa Hoshiki, right? Her kicks were sharp. Like
Yeah.
they never looked like they would like just like they didn't look the same way as like a Momo Watanabe's kicks, right? Because Momo had the weight behind it kind of thing
Yeah.
more so than like, oh, I'm trying to like, it doesn't feel like a stab. It feels like a brick going at your head when it's somebody like a
Yeah.
Momo,
There's like some
or like
sharp kicks,
a
some heavy
Dynamite, or
kicks.
I think Hamada was one who I noted down later on. Her kicks were like really just strong. Like they weren't
Mhm.
necessarily like sharp and quick or anything like that, but like when she kicked motherfuckers, it looked like it was like all of her weight on it. So I
Mhm.
think, yeah, I definitely get what you mean by Dynamite at this point in time. Really strong kicks, really like brick kicks. I would compare it
There's
to.
also people who kick with like finesse, where like their kicks are a bit more flashy, even though they might
Mm.
not have as much weight behind it as some other people's.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
those suck.
That's
Those,
sucking.
those are kind of bad.
Oh, and then there's the modern American indies where they just don't commit ever.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
It's like they
you got
watched.
close. You got
They like
close. It's fine.
they
It's
move
like they
their leg
watched
near their head.
2005 Kenta and said, "Yeah, how can we do this but very bad?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so there is various different types of kicks and kickers, and I actually really like that note about Diamond Kansai because uh, at this stage of her career, I feel like that was really what she kind of like was leaning into was like, okay, I'm not gonna do all that much. I'm not really that big of a seller anymore. I'm not very super mobile, but I will kick the fuck out of you, and I'll like that. I hope everybody knows that.
What
And I
else do
thought
you
that was
need?
really, I think that was really what came across here, and I think it worked perfectly fine for her. Uh, I think that she really performed quite well. Considering I was a bit nervous because I feel like by this stage, she was a bit, she wasn't the Dynamite Kansai of 1995. That's all I'm trying to say. But she really supplemented it with a different style, and I thought it really came across very well. Alex, how did you feel about this match overall? And give me some things you pointed out from it. Whatever you kind of took from it while watching.
Um, I mean, I thought Dynamite Kansai was pretty cool. She's pretty timeless. Just a lot of wrestlers. The way to age as a wrestler is to just start hitting people harder. And Kansai already stiffed the fuck out of people. So as she got older, she was like, I'm just gonna like throw them even harder. So Dynamite was really good in this, and she was like surprisingly good because she had like 20 different health conditions around this point in
Yeah,
time.
that's what I think.
So
Yeah.
I was amazed that she was as good as she was, but she's really timeless. I thought Kato had some good exchanges when she was in there with the right people. Carlos Amano doesn't fit these kind of matches all that well. She's
No.
like one of these
Yeah,
really interesting technical wrestlers who excels in one-on-one matches, but in a match like this, you're just like, okay, can you get out of the way, please? Thanks. So,
I don't
uh,
remember anything she did in this
yeah,
match.
like poor Carlos. But she is good. Like I've seen her have like really good matches, but this was not it. And yeah, Aniki was the clear star of her team, and is no surprise that she's the one still going out of the three because she had it and always kind of did, whereas the other two were just kind of like solid enough wrestlers. But yeah, shouts out Durag Sawako.
Dude, Sawako hit a running banzai drop on Kato. Crazy. Like
Yeah.
crazy. Like the camera angle was like perfect for her too cuz it like she was like coming into frame and just like crushed her. It was insane. That was like one of my favorite spots of the night. Just cuz it was just out of nowhere. I was like, "Oh fuck." And it looked great. And then yeah, Kato pinned Aniki with a diving leg drop in 12 minutes 46 seconds. So despite all three of us kind of saying, "Oh yeah, Ryo Mizunami really showed out because, she's great." She was the one who took the pin. And yeah, I thought this was a fine match. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
That's
Um,
like the epitome of Joshi wrestling,
oh,
rising,
100%.
especially outside of big companies or inside TJPW too. Rising star gets pinned by somebody who probably doesn't need the win. So
That's the way it got to
Yeah.
be for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's great.
But yeah, I thought the match was like solid. I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't mediocre. I thought it was quite fun. There was a lot of good stuff to kind of like dive into. Like I said, Ryo Mizunami is the one type of thing. Uh, I every time I see, I feel like Ryo Mizunami and somebody in the next match we'll talk about, Hiroya Matsumoto, are like two wrestlers of the same vibe, where like they're both freelancers right now, but they have this like mystique to them that like anytime I see them on a card, I'm just like, oh, that's fun. Like that's cool. Like they just make matches better just actively, and they aren't even like, you know, they aren't fighting to prove themselves no more. They're just good. And I think that's really a fun thing to have. But at this point, this was when Ryo Mizunami was fighting to prove herself, and I thought she performed quite well in
I'm
this match.
glad that you connected her to somebody in the next match because I'm going to do the same but in a different light. So
Oh boy.
Okay. I suppose that's all we have to say. I'm guessing. Would we like to move on?
Yeah.
Yes. Next match was a countdown battle royal. It was 12 person. The participants were as follows. This is not in order. It was countdown, but this is not in order because one thing about the show is that it was clipped very slightly. Like it was clipped like not to the point where like you missed anything, but just very slightly. So like this battle royal, at one point there was like 3 people in it, and then at one point there was 12, and I was like, oh, okay, we're here now. But the participants were as follows. It was Yu Yamagata, Apple Miyuki, Ranmaru, Kyoko Kimura, Hiroya Matsumoto, Cherry, Misaki Ohata, Moeka Haru. You guys know how to pronounce
Mocha
it.
Haruhi.
Yeah.
Dude,
Mocha.
she's
Wait,
been
that's
brought
Mocha?
up like twice.
Hurry, Moika, come on now.
Okay, the E always fucks me up in Japanese. Let me be real.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful.
Her, Yumioka, Shiri, Hikaru Shida, and Tsukasa Fujimoto. I hate
You
those
know what's
names.
great? Do you know Apple Miyuki?
Bro.
Yeah, it's Hibiscus
Dylan?
me.
That is
Bro,
Hibiscus
no,
me.
you know what? I didn't know that at all in this match. At the retirement ceremony, like during the ceremony, I was like, "That's Hibiscus me." Like I was like, because the entire match,
I bet you didn't know she was trained in K Dojo either.
I didn't actually know.
Yeah.
It makes sense. She always has had like this kind of connection to like male wrestling more than like a lot of Joshi wrestlers. So I guess K-Jojo does make sense for her stomping grounds. But the thing was I was watching this match and I was like, I like checked back on the card. I was like, is Hibiscus Me not in this? Because I was like, that looks like Hibiscus Me. And then I realized like hours later, I was like, holy shit, her old name was Apple. Oh my god! And it like completely clicked on me like an hour after like multiple hours
Incredible.
after I watched this match. I love Hibiscus Me. She's one of my favorite comedy wrestlers like ever. I adore her.
Dylan, you're one of my favorite people, man. You're so fucking dumb. I love it.
Oh man!
I refuse to
Fuck
comment.
you.
I refuse.
Okay, you know what? Because of that, Alex, you go first. You get to talk about this first.
It was my turn to go first anyway.
I know.
You're not helping yourself
I
here.
know. Just go on, okay?
So all battle royals ever are bad. I don't know who needs to hear this, but they are all very bad. Joshi battle royals are like less bad, and there's only one occasion where there's been a good battle royal, and it was because of Sakura Hirota. This are you gonna dispute this or?
Listen, I'm not saying the battle royal was good, but me and Dylan have reviewed a battle royal. No, not this one, a different one. Me and Dylan have reviewed a battle royal on the All Together show where I saw Yoshinori Agawa try to beat up like a 70-year-old man who can't walk. So I don't know.
Yeah, Alex. Actually, I need to explain
kind of fire.
I know you don't listen. Legit. So it was a Destroyer battle royal, and Destroyer was like this wrestler in like the 70s or something, like 60s.
Okay.
Super old guy.
Like he can barely move. Like
barely move. His son was helping him everywhere. He got in the ring to like announce all the competitors.
No, he didn't even get in the ring. Oh wait,
Okay.
no, he did the.
He got in the ring.
First.
It was very disturbing because it took him a long time to get in the ring, and I was concerned about his health. And so him and his son were in the ring, like announcing the competitors, being like, "Oh yeah, they're here, cool." And then they try to get out, and fucking Rat Boy from Pro Wrestling Noah fucking gets in their way and like pushes him and his son, and they're like, "We're not in this."
The Destroyer is like 90 years old, trying to get out the ring. If he falls, he's like fucking dying. And Ogawa's trying to fucking kick him off the apron.
He's like pushing him. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? This man is 90 years old. So this was better than that. Let's also Kento Miyahara got pinned by Gato. Crazy.
Yeah, Gato was in the final two, so that one sucked. But
yeah, so in comparison, best battle royal that we reviewed on No Limit. This was the
Yeah,
best way I
that's
remember
fair.
it.
I mean,
I
this
love it.
did have the Ranmaru lady doing comedy, which is
Yeah.
always good. The Ranmaru. You know what's funny about Ranmaru
Hmm.
is I was watching AJW Classics one day,
I was gonna bring this up.
and there's this girl throwing like mad head kicks, like she's shooting. She's a shoot fighter, and I look her up, and it is masked comedy old woman Ranmaru, and I
She's
was
also a
like, what
Zap.
the fuck?
Did you
She
know
was
that?
also a Zap, yeah.
She was
I
one of the young Zaps.
I was blown away. I was like, there is no way this is the freeze lady who inherited Fairy Nihon Bashi's magic wand. Like, there is no way that is the same woman. But it is, and she saved this match
I was
because
gonna say I thought she was funny.
yeah,
I
she
thought
is. She's
she was
good. I
great.
like her. Yeah, these battle royals in Joshi are great when there's a comedy wrestler to hold it together. Otherwise, it's just everybody doing the oh no, we have to all pin the one person spot, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, that's great. We've
I
seen it.
will point
Thanks.
out, Kyoko Kimura and Shuri, they had like a minute where they
I
just kind of
I
went
had
at it.
that in I
Yeah,
had
and I
that.
thought that was really great. I think Kyoko Kimura really showed out. Who was the little person near
I
her?
think it was Natsuki Tile.
Okay, wait, no, no,
Oh
no, it
yeah,
wasn't. It wasn't. I don't think it was Tayo.
are you
I
sure?
think so because whenever they were doing the Kurihara spot in the main event where everybody attacked her,
Yeah,
I heard
no,
the announcer say
Tayo did
Tile.
come out. And I mean a bunch of wrestlers from Stardom came out. We'll talk about that later, but uh,
Dog,
she was
who
wearing
else
something
is
really cool.
very tiny and wearing Rasta colors in Joshi? It had to be Tile.
It might have been Ohata then. Was she in the match?
She was in
Ohata
the
was
match.
in the
It might have been
match. No,
Ohata.
the little person. No, the little
Oh,
person came out with Kyoko just
For
in
okay,
Rasta color and
for a
just did a
second,
right.
run in.
Okay.
for a second, I thought it was Hana, but then I realized Hana was like 16 at this point, so she wouldn't be that small. Uh, but it looked like a child, and I like the quality was too. I couldn't even make out like a figure basically. But it just looked like a very
Maybe
young
it was
person.
Chris Wolf. Would it have been Chris Wolf? No.
2013. No, I think Chris Wolf came out
Mm,
like a year later.
all right.
This was pre Oedo Tai.
This
So
was
Yeah,
still
because
Kimura Monster Gun, right?
yeah, I was
yeah, this
looking
is
for
Kimura
Kimura
Monster.
Monster Gun members, but I don't know. Maybe it was Tomoko Nakagawa.
No, because
She was in a
she
group
was in the
with.
main.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
man.
All right. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, mysterious young wrestler that aided Kyoko Kimura. Um, but yeah, I thought some of this was really fun. Like I said, it was hard to kind of make out the figures of like who was in this match, but it started in a blur, and Yumi Oka hit a big boot. And I was like, I know that big boot everywhere. Like I could
Yeah,
point
I was
that
about
out
to say that.
anywhere. You know
There's
what I
like a
mean?
cadence to wrestlers who are trained in wave and the way they throw big boots because they
Hmm.
all throw them like Yumioka. Like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you don't know what I'm talking about,
No, I know what you're
if you,
talking about.
no, I'm talking like the people who are like listening. If you're a Joshi fan, you watch Asuka, watch how Asuka does big boots, and then go watch a Yumioka match. Exact same thing.
See,
Literally,
like I feel like with Wave, I feel like maybe Gami trains them, Yuki Miyazaki trains them, and then one day Yumioka
Yumioka
comes in,
lines them
and
up.
it's like it's big boot time, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? It's like we learned in the day, like, and that's it. That's her entire contribution. But I thank her because her big boots, one of the greatest of all time.
They're
I
great.
will
It's
say
like
that.
she's walking on your face. It is
Oh
literally
yeah,
just
no,
like
it's it's so
I'm gliding
seamless.
past you.
It's so
Great.
Yumioka's
seamless, so
another person
natural.
where like I want to see more of her older stuff, like when she was still like working, and she
Yeah, because
had to be like
nowadays
the
it's a bit rough. Like I
yeah
love her, but it's not particularly fun watching her singles matches nowadays.
yeah.
Um,
Damn.
but yeah, I think that she
Well, I mean,
really
she
does
gets
that
hurt
a
like
lot.
every five
That's true.
minutes, so
That's true.
Yeah. Well, she's married now, so she's just like she's living
Is
the
she
whatever.
just
life.
trying to have a kid? Like, isn't that her?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
why
an
she
ops
took
caster.
time off. Is she wanted to take? She was like, well, since I'm like older, I need to like focus everything on trying to have a child. I was like, all right,
Ah,
bro. I mean,
fair
you
play.
could have just did
Just
this when you
not.
were hurt, but
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to be having a kid while I had a broken leg. To be fair, like I think I get why why
Well,
she
thank
would
you.
want.
That's
Okay,
fair.
well, when would you want to have a kid, Dylan?
Okay, well I wouldn't want like that's not
Yeah, exactly.
that's just me. But yeah, I thought this match was like fine. I thought it was like it wasn't great. It was a battle royal, but I thought it was like fun enough. Like I said, I thought Kyoko Kimura and Shuri were really fun, as was Hiroya Matsumoto. She came in a little bit late and had some fun stuff. Um, but yeah, I thought it was like a fine match. It kind of like cut up the show into two parts for me. So it was kind of like a good like medium point, like or middle point, I guess. Uh, and yeah, I don't have much more to say about it. Xavi, how,
Um,
how did you feel about it overall? I know you have some comments.
Yeah. First of all, it's crazy to look at everybody in this match because like a good portion of them are still active in wrestling.
Mm.
So that and they're all their careers have took different paths. So it's kind of crazy to look at. But to start off
Yamagata,
with,
the pride of JTO.
yeah, me and Taka Michinoku got beef right now, so we're not talking about JT on this podcast. I'll tell you what. Um, Starting off with Misaki Ohata and Yumioka, they were rocking for a little bit. I said, "This is that real right here." Ohata retires in like what 2-3 years from now. I want to say was it
26
It was
28?
maybe?
2018.
Yeah, I was
The
going to say it
draft
was
is
two.
like,
I thought it was 2018.
yeah.
Which, if people don't know, for those DDT viewers out there, she is retired and is married and has 2 kids with Makoto Oishi, the man who Yuji
Oh
Hino
wow,
loves to death. Uh,
I didn't know that
that's
actually.
like Yuji Hino's favorite wrestler. That's why he's in DDT. So, um, that and they're both from K Dojo. But anyway, I have in all caps Kyoko is here in the roster colors. Once again, this is that real. This is the most cursed Shuri look of all time.
Oh, 100%. Like it was this was 5 years post KG or four
Yeah,
4 years maybe. And I was like, you haven't you look the same. Like not the same, but like your gear hasn't progressed since then, homegirl. Like we need to talk about this.
but hey, just because it was cursed doesn't mean she was bad. Because
Oh no,
like you were
she was
talking
killing
about
it.
her and Kyoko, they were throwing some snug elbows in this one. Uh, since we got like a look, since I don't know when we're gonna talk about Kyoko Kimura, again on this show, Kyoko Kimura is such a special pro wrestler because
Yeah.
everything she did just felt real. And not many wrestlers can do that, especially nowadays when they're trying so hard to make everything they do look real. Kyoko just did it naturally. She just seemed like a bad motherfucker that would beat the shit out of you. Um,
Yeah,
She was
totally.
raw as hell,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, her stuff with Kana is legitimately like, are you two okay? Does somebody owe someone money?
No, they
Like,
are not.
that is crazy. Yeah, her stuff was always like, yeah, it's got an extra hint of danger to it. She was fantastic, and you could kind of see towards the very end of her career that Hannah had the same kind of
Hmm.
vibe. She
Hmm.
was starting to get it, like that Julia match at the year-end climax. That is the
Yeah.
most Kyoko Kimura performance she had ever had to that point, because it was like, oh, they're gonna kill each other.
She would
So
always have like spurts, but like as far as a match wise, that was like the most full on Kyoko performance she ever had.
yeah, so we were close to getting Kyoko number two, but here we are.
Um,
My favorite.
shit, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I wanted to make the connection between Ryo Mizunami. Ryo Mizunami and Masaki Ohara are probably the most slept on Joshi tag team like ever. Like
Yeah.
anytime people
Well,
are listing their
I
favorite,
don't know about that.
I will say that because well, not ever, but like one of them.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
fair.
fucking love Avid Rival so much.
Hmm.
They fucking rock. And whenever people talk about Joshi tag teams, they like barely talk about them. I think like the only people that talk about them are probably like me and you having conversations with each other,
Yeah,
Alex. Just like man, Avid Rival was so sick.
they're
But
great.
yeah, I want to make that connection. Oh, here's the AEW note. Sakasa Fujimoto pinned Sakura Shida to become the interim AEW Women's World Champion.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Man,
um,
Sheeta is also a funny one because I feel like did she ever stop? Like she felt like the same wrestler. Like she never progressed. And that's
No,
not like and I'm not
she's been the same since day one.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
incredible.
like I was like, "Oh, this is like you could have replaced this with 2023 Sheeta like in a
it'd have
time
been the
machine
same.
and it would be the exact same
Yeah,
performance." And
she
I
just
was
got
We
like,
actually had
slightly
a
better.
conversation about this with Scott the other day, where we were talking about
"Oh
Hikaru
yeah,
Shida, and he was just like, "Yeah, she's not one of the best wrestlers in the world when you compare her to some of the people in Japan." And I basically just made the point that people underrate the how deep the Joshi scene is in Japan outside of the big companies a lot. A lot of those
yeah, totally."
wrestlers
Hmm.
are very hungry and have this want and desire to be the best version, if even not the best, just the best version of themselves they can be. So they perform at a high level naturally. Sheeta, she's on such a high level compared to the people she works with in AEW that she doesn't have that same hunger and just doesn't match up with a lot of these low end people in these small companies, if we're being honest. And that's just how it is. It's not that I think she's bad or anything. It's just she doesn't have that hunger that other people have where they want to be better. It's just like I've done this my whole career and it still works because just the people I work with are on such a level below me. So why should I try to be better than what I am now?
Yeah, and the thing
uh,
with Sheeta is like when she was active in the Joshi scene, she was never seen as like the best wrestler on the scene. Like it was never like she was given big spots, but it was never, oh, Sheeta's one of the best wrestlers going.
Yeah.
So I do find the retconning a bit weird there, where it's like, oh, she's like one of the best in the world, and I'm like, she wasn't even top 5 in the scene when she
There's a
was
reason
here.
she's like not a draw now. It's like they're just like,
Yeah,
oh, cool.
yeah, she just like she was cool. Most people liked her, but I mean, she wasn't amazing, and that was in 2018 and whatever. Like this, some would say the scene has gotten worse, but
Yeah.
I don't think she'd be top 10
You
now,
know,
and she wasn't top 10 then either.
I mean, I feel like that's like kind of a cop out just because where Stardom has gotten so big, and then how, I don't want to give him props, but TJPW's got a following, so how they're like big internationally, I guess, that people are just like, oh well, you can't just put like bad attendances on her because this Joshi scene's just not hitting as it used to. When I argue, like I said, that the undercards of like the smaller Joshi companies has gotten really good just because everybody's been putting in the work. It's just that business is kind of in a weird spot in Japan right now, to where the point, if you're not a big company, you're not really doing as hot as you would want to be doing. And it
that's the
also,
case across the board for like
yeah,
even
no, literally
male
everywhere.
companies. Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
no,
not a
everywhere.
Joshi problem as much as people
No,
make
it's
it bad.
just a Japan general problem. If you're not one of the big companies, you're not doing shit, man. It's just how it is. And the thing is, why Shida gets blamed for this is because most of these companies are booking their entire shows around her being there. She's usually in the main event. Wave put their fucking world title on her, and I haven't seen it in like a year. And it's
She
just
had one match
resulting.
with Iger.
Yeah. And it's just, whatever. I mean, Sheeta's cool, whatever, but there's definitely a lot of, I don't want to say undeserved praise, but a lot of praise for being the best
She's
amongst
just
a.
she's the most like visible. Like I think
Yeah,
that's
she
I
gets a
think
lot
people
of praise
mistake.
for being a great wrestler in a relatively bad scene.
Yeah, I think people mistake like this visibility for like this very like high standard,
Mm-hmm.
like because, and not to be the wave head that I am, but like Kohaku is a better wrestler in 2023 than Hikaru Shida
Oh
is.
yeah, 100%.
Like what I mean? Like that's just the case. But Shida is the one that has the TV that sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes, and I would even argue, and not to get too like AEW built about this, but I would even argue that like Riho is still, when she's around, a better like consistent worker than Hikaru Shida is. And this isn't me trying to like
Well,
shit on
Riho
Shida.
shows flashes of wanting to have better performances. You don't
Yeah,
really get that from Sheeta. It's just Sheeta's
it's
doing
true.
her match.
Which is cool. You know what I mean? Like I'll never fault someone for getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
It would just be nice if when she showed up to Japan, it would she'd like be like, okay, now I'm gonna actually like try something new
Yeah,
or try something fresh, try to be
she
try to
did
be
have a good
fitting of a
match
world
with
champion.
Hoshi. To be fair,
Yeah, I was gonna say
that
with
was
Buki
one of
Hoshi.
the real times where I went, okay,
But
she's
once
still got
again,
something.
Ibuki Hoshi is one of those examples I was pointing out
Yeah,
about like
true.
wrestlers in smaller companies really putting in the work and being really
Mhm.
fucking good, even if people are not seeing them.
It's funny we bring that up because nothing. I'll talk to you guys about it later.
Okay.
No, but yeah, I also love Ibuki Hoshi, but I think that's enough Hikaru Shida discourse
No,
for the
that's
day.
fine.
Um,
But
yeah, go.
basically my last 2 points are Ohada smacked the shit out of Hiroyo Matsumoto with this
Mhm.
whip because Ranmaru did the freeze spot where whenever they unfreezed, Hiroyo just grabbed Masaki Ohada's titties for whatever reason.
I
And
did not see
then
this.
yes, it happened. Okay, so Ranmaru froze time as Ohada was originally about to hit Hiroyo Matsumoto with Yumioka's whip, and then proceeded to put Ohada's hands behind her back, and then raise Hiroyo's hands up and place them right in front of her chest, and then unfreeze the time. That way, Hiroyo just grabbed her titties for whatever reason, and then like Hiroyo celebrated it, so Ohada winds back and smacks the shit out of her across the head with this whip, and that's what leads to her eliminating her. And I was like, I can't be the only one who's seen this, and because like I was like, surely if Dylan or somebody's seen this, they would have texted the chat and like, did y'all see this? Because it was insane. But Ohada does get the win, and rightfully so. I was just mad she didn't have a singles match on the show. Dylan thought I hated Ohada. That's not the case.
Bro, you texted so furious that she was in the match, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you had beef like that." I was so confused, but yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm gonna be real
I'm
about.
It,
surprised. That
it
is
was
that is
there.
crazy. It was
It
like
was there.
it was
Like,
a
was
I'm
whole
like,
thing. They
it was in the
froze
final.
time in the ring. How did you
It
not
was
notice
like
everybody
a
frozen?
long spot too.
Yeah.
It was like she froze time. She had to position them that way. When she unfreezes time, they were in position, and then she unfreezes time, and there's at least like 30 more seconds of the spot continuing. So I don't know how you didn't see it.
no, wait. Okay, what are we talking about right now? Because
The Hiroyo harassment spot.
yeah, I did not notice the Hiroyo harassment
That's
spot.
crazy. Like, because that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like she froze time to make
I
that
know
happen.
she froze time. The only thing I remember from
How
the
did you
freezing of
not
time
notice?
is her just face palming, pie facing, I guess you would call it, Kyoko. That's all I remember from it.
No, there was
Wow.
multiple time freeze
You must have been
spots.
on your phone and just been like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
You
because there was
definitely-
multiple time freezing spots.
Yeah.
I'm watching it now. Okay, yeah, this is longer than I remember it being. This is definitely longer than I remember it being.
Yeah, see,
Alex, how did you feel?
he already
Don't- yeah,
said how he felt. It's your fault for not seeing it because we saw it, man.
We might just be gaslighting Dylan. You never know.
I feel like you are because I'm watching this.
No,
And
we're not.
I
Like
don't
We're
know.
it
not.
happened.
It actually
I remember
happened.
it happened.
Why would I write it in my notes?
I don't know. Okay.
You're just bad at watching shows, man.
Yeah, this he's out of practice. Like Stardom hasn't been uploading anything, so we're not used to watching wrestling. It's very bad. But yeah, Ranmaru,
You sh-
keep saving wrestling.
Ranmaru apparently had the greatest double life of all time, being an entertaining comedy wrestler and shoe kicking people in the head. That's
Yeah, I think you'd actually love her if you watched her old stuff. She is like, she was throwing shit.
the thing is with most AJW shows that I might watch is they're all long as shit. So I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, but she was there when it was bad, and they only had
Oh,
like
that's
10
decent.
wrestlers, so it's fine. Like I think the show is usually like 4 matches long. So,
Hell yeah. Well,
yeah.
stay tuned for mine and Dylan's next side project where we just go through dying days of AJW and just be like, man,
Yeah, this one card from 2002 is so funny. AJW New Break 02 in the AJW garage in front of 190 people. Kaoru Ito beats Saki Maimura. Mika Nishio and Yumiko Hoda beat Fang Suzuki and Ranmaru. Kumiko Maekawa beats Tomoko Watanabe in 7 minutes. And for some reason, Miyuki Fuji teams with Hinai Takahashi in the main event. What a show. What a card. This company,
how does this company, or how are they still running shows in 2002?
dude, I have no idea. They must have just like remortgaged the venues like
I'm
10
gonna be
more
real.
times.
I just rewatched that entire set. I did not see what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Okay, Dylan is
I'm
so
a
woke
blind
that he
man.
can't even see the sexual harassment. His brain like doesn't let it happen. That isn't
Yeah.
actually. That is like
Crazy.
next level strats.
Yeah, he's the person that
You're
quotes
talking
tweets
about
anybody.
Hiroyo Matsumoto, yeah?
Yeah.
Bro, she just posed. Like I don't.
Maybe it was a different part because there was a few.
Yeah,
time
there was,
freezes.
like I said, there was a few time freezings. And Ohada has to have the whip in her hand. So if you don't see it, you don't see it. But, you know.
I do remember her having the whip and hitting a few people with it. Didn't she like run somebody off the ropes and then just smack them with it before they could even
Yes.
rebound? That was crazy. I was like, ouch. No, that must have hurt.
Oh, that's. I was like skipping through it, and I just see it, like just the exact
That's
freeze
crazy.
frame of it. That's
That
crazy.
is
That did
incredible.
happen.
Yeah,
Wow.
we told you.
We know
tried
it
to-
happened.
okay. See, I was talking about like the big freeze frame spot. This was like a minute and
No.
a half later, 2 minutes later. Okay, yeah, I see that now.
Right after we said there was multiple freeze. You know what, man?
That's
Let's
why
talk
I
about
moved forward.
let's
That's
talk
why I
about
moved
Hayako Hamada. Let's talk about Hayako Hamada.
Hell
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, so it lasted 18 minutes. Ohada won. It started getting a bit like once Ranmaru got kicked out, it was kind of like, oh, okay. Like,
No, we're not talking about this no more. Let's talk about Hayako Hamada.
okay, I was just trying to restore a normal flow.
It's fine.
My
It's a
bad.
battle royal. It doesn't deserve it.
It was 18 minutes. No battle royal should be 18 minutes. That's
The
all.
Yeah.
You
next
So
match,
that's
the
true.
next match, man. Okay, the next match is Sari. No, because I was what my last note is. I wonder if like battle royals from like Stardom nowadays, 15 years from now, are going to be looked at like so just like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that person ended up being super important, but everybody else is just
Well,
here for some reason. You know what I mean? Like,
possibly. They've run
like
so many.
yeah, exactly.
And most of
Kind of
them
hard.
are people that I know aren't getting pushed, so it's like whatever.
Oof. Oof. Massive oof right there.
Hey, Suzu won the last one, so be easy, brother.
Yeah, they
Um,
had Masarugo in one of those. Like they're cool.
Yeah, some of them are actually quite good, but
Yeah.
not
Well,
not
no,
usually.
that's not
They
good
said
effort.
no. Absolutely not.
I disagree.
No good
Um,
battle royals. Once you've seen Sakura Hirota
no
cosplay
people getting
Miko in a battle royal, then I
no
think
people get had a
no,
great battle
no.
royal.
The Miko Hirota one is the only good one ever, and that's because everybody else sold it like it was Miko, but it was Sakura Hirota throwing the kicks, so they were really bad. But everybody was selling it like it was Miko, and it was really funny. So yeah, that's the only good battle royal ever.
Okay, that's enough battle royal talking.
Leave it to
Next
Alex to bring
match,
up a British wrestler.
yeah.
Who? What British?
Miko's
Sakura
Kata,
Hamada.
Yeah,
Miko's Kata more, bro.
because Sakura Hirota had to be her. Like it's
Ooh.
by proxy of the greatest of all time.
I think that's a cancelable offense on Sakura Hoda's part because like cosplaying a British is I don't know about
She
that.
And
had no choice. The Brit got
and
sick. She caught
I don't
Brit
know
disease.
about greatest of all time. I'm just saying.
Hirota is the greatest of all time.
No,
Don't even.
I thought you were talking about Mako. I was gonna
No,
say
Mi-
nah.
I don't
Miko.
think any.
Miko.
I don't think any of the three of. I'm pretty sure all three of us have like agreed that Emi Sakura is better
Oh,
than Mako
100%.
Satomura, and like that's like a hot take apparently.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna
But
get into it. If you want to know
no,
about
but
it, you can tweet at us, and I will sit here and repeatedly say that she's
yeah,
better. But
me and Alex have gotten into it on Stardom Quest about how like Emi's just like fundamentally like a better wrestler. But
Yeah.
let's avoid that can of worms and let's get into the semi-main event, which is Sari against Ayako Hamada. I believe Shuri was the guest commentator on this match. I could
yeah,
tell because they said something that sounded like Shuri and then Shuri's voice. So it's like I'm
yeah,
pretty
because
Her
sure.
she's a
very
big
distinct voice.
Yeah, she has a very
she's a big
distinct voice.
TNA fan, so she wanted to watch the Sayaka Hamada match.
Yeah, I respect that. I get
God
it. I
bless.
get it. Um, let's start with Alex this time. You know what? I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna change it up a little bit.
Whoa,
Um,
that's crazy.
how do you feel about this match? Give me some of your hot takes about it and how you felt going in and coming out of it.
This surprised me because I've seen some early Sari matches that aren't good because her opponent just eats her alive, and I was like,
That was
Hamada might do that.
that was so how
Hamada,
they did it in
well,
that era too.
yeah, I was like, Hamada might eat her alive because listen, Ayako, I love you, but she did not. She was not about that life. But Sari was just like, you are getting me over or else. So it was great. Like Hamada was her usual self, beating on this woman every way she can, mixing her lucha, TNA, Puro, all that shit into one melting pot of an amazing wrestler, and Sari was just smacking the shit out of her. That one slap where the entire crowd went, "Oh my god, she's dead!" That was great. So yeah, Sari proved that she was always destined to run this shit. Because she just wrestled away the attention from Hamada, like whether Hamada liked it or not. It was so good.
See, yeah, you say that like the younger wrestlers often got eaten alive, and the matches kind of just didn't.
That's
They
true.
suffered from that a lot. I have a very specific like note about that from a month ago. I watched a couple matches from a Neo show in 2010,
Oh god,
Oh
Coda,
god.
Coda booking. Here we go.
and Kagetsu lost to Shinobu Kandori
Oh god.
in
Oh man.
in like 4 minutes, and I was expecting her, or I was expecting him, sorry, to get his ass beat, right? Obviously, it's Shinobu Kandori, but it was so just not a wrestling match. Like it was just like, oh, I'm no, we're not wrestling.
Mhm.
Fuck you. You lose now. And I was like, dude, like these are two of the greatest wrestlers in like Joshi history. And I was like, oh, that could like have like a little fire that Shinobi just did not let him. It's like, oh, you have fire, eat it, die, leave. And that was it.
How did you not expect that of Shinobu
I
Kandori? Did you not
expected it,
remember
but
what she did to LLPW? That woman ate that company alive and thought she could fight fucking Svetlana Gundarenko. Okay,
That did
what
happen.
about Kandori has ever taught you that she would be like a
Giving.
50-50 or even
Yeah.
80-20 with a wrestler?
Yeah.
Like, that's
I don't know.
crazy.
I just looked at like on paper that sounds like such a crazy match. So I was like, I have to watch this, and I wish I didn't. But yeah, this match was not like that. This Sari versus Ayaka Hamada. I was really pleasantly surprised because it was a a genuine competition. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's something that you really want to see out of these younger wrestlers. It was similar to that opening match that we talked about because Mika Ida was clearly the underdog going in. She was trained by Ayumi. That was like a whole thing. So you kind of expect this teacher versus student. The student's not going to get a ton in. Maybe they get a hot comeback and then they just get foiled. I would say in both of these matches, it wasn't like that. It was like a genuine like competition between the two wrestlers, and it made it super fun. This was a great match. I loved it. Xavier, go ahead. You can talk about it a little bit. Some stuff that you uh, took out of it. You know.
Yeah, basically echoed a lot of the things that y'all said. Even though this is young Sari, it was very clear that she had that dog in her, especially in this match because she was getting over. She was getting some fanfare here tonight. Okay, Ayako though, like she gave Sari a lot, and that shocked me. Like she gave her a whole lot in this match. Half of it was her giving her a lot and Sari taking more than what she was given. It was probably like 70-30 Sari, but the difference is she didn't dominate, and Ayako made sure to make the most of like the 30% that she of the match that she saved for herself because she was beating the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Okay. Like she was throwing like heavy Masawa elbows. It was fucking beating the shit out of her. Um, another one that I noted is when Sari went for her Uranagi, the Uranagi spot where just kind of like elbow out of it.
Mhm.
Ayako was like elbowing down at her head like she was trying to behead her.
that.
It was nasty. But they basically just beat shit out of each other, and Sari got to shine. Absolutely loved this match. It was probably like a stark contrast from every other rookie match you've seen, or every other young wrestler versus established wrestler match you've seen from the scene from this time. So it was lovely. Absolutely love Ayaka Hamada. She's the absolute best, and more people should praise her more.
Just a question. After seeing this, is it very clear that Sari is just an Ayumi Kurihara regen? Like, they are so similar.
They are
Oh
quite
yeah, for sure. Shoot headbutt, Uranagi. It's like
It's
the
funny.
drop kick.
Everything, the color
Yeah.
scheme.
It's
Yeah,
funny because I
it's the
noted
same.
it. I was like, oh yeah, she went for a series of Uranagis, whatever. Uranagis in tribute to Ayumi, and then I like kind of like thought
That's
about it
her
for a second.
move.
I was like, oh, like she's just a she's just a tribute wrestler.
Yeah.
Like so many of like her spots are very Kurihara pilled, and
Yeah.
I kind of dig it.
The lineage is Saki Hasegawa, Ayumi Kurihara, Sari. Like, all three are like so very similar in some
Which
ways.
is funny
He's
because
got
And
like
they're all beasts.
Ayumi did have so many like teachers and so many mentors, and Sakazugawa wasn't one of them. But I definitely see what you're talking about because there is like damn, I never even thought about that.
I
Yeah.
didn't either, so you just said it, and I was like, damn, they
That
do.
that actually makes sense.
She
Yeah.
does the exact same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
now
incredible.
Sari's got to like, she's got to start up her own little secret school and just, she's got to raise the next generation of the Yumi Kirihara reboots.
Throwing Uranagis and headbutts for like 5 minutes. Let's go.
But yeah, I love this one. I don't have any complaints about it. I expected it to be good, even though I didn't know because it's young Sari and rookie versus established vet. But yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, I thought this was really really fun. Sorry, really brought that intensity that you kind of want, and Hamada just shut her down at points, which is what you need to make this like a really like hot match. Um, as you guys said, Sari smacked the shit out of her, which is always one of my favorite spots of any match. Um, and yeah, and then Hamada won with some kicks and a Ricola bomb in 9 minutes, which was a good finish. I really enjoyed everything about this match. Another really great 9 minutes of wrestling. Um, yeah, I really loved this match overall. Uh, any other closing remarks before we get into the big main event of the evening?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
Oh yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Hamada needs to save the TNA Knockouts tag division again. Get her and Awesome Kong
Yeah.
back in there. Let's go. They've got Taylor Wilde again. Taylor and fucking Kylan King versus Hamada and Kong. Are you telling me that wouldn't be the greatest match in Impact history? Like, let's
I,
go. Let's do
I
it.
miss
I'm
Ayako
actually,
Hamada, who's
I'm
still
actually,
around. She's
yeah,
just on indies in
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked that like TNA has not tried to bring her back.
I thought that was a clear. I thought they were going to do Sarita and Taylor again when Sarah Stock got released. I was like, oh,
Ah,
they're definitely going to bring them back together, and then they didn't because AW got in the way.
well, AW should sign Ayako Hamada and let her just fucking beat the shit out of
Hell
Britt
yeah.
Baker on Dynamite.
Seriously,
You know what I
you
love
can-
about that?
What?
Go ahead, Alex.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
if you can get Rush to play ball, you can get Hamada to play ball. Like, let's not be.
I
Let's
think
not lie here.
Ayako
Let's get
Hamada
it.
would definitely play ball.
I
mean,
think the beauty of that,
for a little while.
I think the
Yeah.
beauty of that is that TNA bringing in Ayako Hamada was like them bringing in that like old grizzled veteran of Joshi wrestling, and now we're 10 years later, and it's
she's
like
still
just do
that.
it with the same person, bro. Like that works. Like she's good. Just
Yeah.
don't think about it. It'll work, and I agree, it will work. I haven't seen a Ayako Hamada match post 2016, maybe.
Yeah, not since she had the random AAA return. I literally haven't seen her, so I have no clue.
Oh yeah, she did have that one. She did have a couple matches in Triple H that one time.
Yeah, she like
Uh,
disappeared for years and then was like, "Hey, I'm back," and they said, "No, you ain't."
The only time I see her is like she's hanging out with Takuma Fujiwara and SB Kento in Mexico. That's the only time I see her.
At least. I'm pretty sure she trains now. Didn't she open a dojo or
Oh
something?
yeah, she
Ah,
definitely
yes,
does. She definitely
yes.
does.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
she was one of the. Who did I just see her with? She was training someone that like I was like, oh wow, maybe I was like looking at old pictures of Hana going on excursion, because
maybe.
maybe yeah.
I was like oh Julia, like that was my big thing, was I was like, oh, Julia should go train with like Hamada or something, if she's going on this international excursion. And I think I
I
saw
think
like
she
her
might
training some
be
people.
I think she might be a connect with a lot of the Japanese wrestlers that are going
Yeah.
over to the indie scene on excursion, like the guys from DG and all that. I think she might be a connect for a lot of them, like helping them get around and training them and all that shit. But no, AEW should totally just bring her in and just let her beat the shit out of all their young wrestlers. Because to me, what I was gonna say for my little closing statement is wrestling would be in such a better place if all young wrestlers trying to get over against the veteran matches were like this. Just
Yeah.
this match. You can just copy and paste this with anybody because everybody wrestles differently. Just do this match, and the person you're trying to get over will get over.
You know how intense Xavi is, how strong he feels about this. I can hear him like hitting his table, like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is what needs to happen. Like
Yeah.
it's great, and I agree with him. I think I totally agree that it's like this is that match
Dude,
that really gets everybody over. Because like
it's
I came
just
out of this thinking, damn, 2013 Hamada really was crazy, and I came out of this thinking Sari has so much potential, and obviously we see Sari's potential now, but like you
it's just
really
that
come away looking at both competitors better instead of just like, oh man, I am disappointed that a
yeah.
lot of these matches are.
Whenever I see like young wrestler versus veteran wrestler matches now that are designed to get the young wrestler over because they're facing a big name, except for Ryo Mizunami, because Ryo Mizunami is the best at this shit, man.
Oh,
She can
100%.
get it. She can get a broomstick over if they let her.
Like I said, she literally has made the TJPW roster look better than any native TJPW wrestler.
Yeah, but
in the past
but
year.
Koda's too much of a coward to run that Arisu Endo and Ryo Mizunami match, so we're not gonna give them props.
One day that's the day.
But basically, like every like veteran versus young person match that's a singles that's designed to get the young wrestler over just comes across so bad. It usually is just like the young wrestler not looking good from it, and then just the way of getting them over is the veteran to cut a promo, be like, "Oh, you got potential, kid."
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, you clearly showed their great potential by just murdering them and not letting them have any type of interesting development in this match. That's great. But yeah, I totally agree. I think this match is a real prototype for what this style of match should be. So I 100% echo that sentiment from you, Xavi. Alex, do you have any more closing remarks on this great match between Ayako Hamada and Sari?
Nah, I mean, I've already campaigned for the TNA return of Hamada. I think that's enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, then I guess it is time for the main event. main event is a 6-woman tag team match. It is Akino, Ayumi Kurihara, and Mika Ida, the two opening wrestlers, and Akino obviously, against Aja Kong, Gami, and Tomoka Nakagawa. This was Ayumi Kurihara's last match ever. This was the last one, and this I guess we can kind of say, for me and Xavi, it is a kind of like a train of thought where it's like this is very very Arjan pilled, because we have Kino here, we have
we have
Aja here, and
Aja.
Gami here. We obviously watched Arjan last time around, so this is very as I said earlier, M style pilled. This is what M style was pretty much these wrestlers.
Yeah, M
But that all
style was
came from Arjan, pretty much.
yeah, M style I believe was a Gami promoted thing. Like it was an
Yeah.
attempt from her to do business. So yeah, she was connected to that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, everybody who started M Style, the first letter of their first name was M. So
Nice.
Mikiko Fudagami, and Mariko Yoshida were the two big ones, and Mika, what is it? Mika Aquino? Yeah, Mika Aquino. I always forget her first name. All the three of them were like the big ones in charge of M Style.
You know
So,
what even
yeah.
makes this card even more Arjan pilled? Because Ayako Hamada was in the match before.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
These
prized
last two matches.
like Arjan trainee Hamada, you know?
Yeah,
Prize Aja Kong daughter.
yeah. Aja Kong's adopted daughter from Grand Hamada. Crazy. But yeah, this was very like I said, this was really like a time capsule of the era. Gear change for Ayumi here. She got the blue gear out for this one. In comparison to the red one she wore earlier. She got hella streamers for her last active call. And she got hella streamers for her last call, which we'll talk about afterwards. Alex, let's jump to you. What did you get from this match, and how did you feel about it overall?
It had its phases, you know.
Yeah.
Some bad, some good. You know, there was some good wrestling at times, and then there was times where it was Gami hitting people with the paper, and there was times where they were doing their bits, you know, the "oh, you're retiring" bits, and when it was hitting, and when it was bits, it was not fun. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing Aja Kong still slightly mobile, because now obviously
Oh yeah,
this woman is not running the ropes, but here she was running the ropes, and I was like, that is
she
incredible.
bumped to like a double drop kick, and I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit!
Yeah.
She bumped.
Yeah.
to,
This
like,
Aja
a
Kong
move.
compared to now is like Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was weird seeing her not be the least mobile person in a match, but Gami really took that crown and ran with it. She was
Gami is so
holy
insane.
shit.
You can like I was talking in Discord the other day about how Akira Hokuto pre-Dangerous Queen and post-Dangerous Queen is such drastically different characters that the pre-Dangerous Queen doesn't get the love. This is the most different I've probably ever seen in a Joshi wrestler. Between Gami, the second that the turn of the millennia happened, compared to the 90s, because like I said last month, or last episode, Gami was like one of the best wrestlers on the card. Like she was so good at what she was doing at the shoot style stuff that I was like, oh, she's one of the best technical wrestlers like ever. And then I remember, oh yeah, that only lasts for like a couple months, and then she turns into this Gami, and it's not a bit, it's very disappointing.
Would you like to know like the first part of my notes for this main event?
Go ahead.
Gami was ready for retirement herself right here in this match.
Oh yeah.
Didn't know it was possible, but she had a negative vertical when she did the jumping foot stomp out of the ropes.
Oh, and people started booing because of it. Everybody started booing. They were like, "Bro, that's so weak. Grow up." Like, and I was like, "Damn."
She had the most Bismack Biombo vertical I've ever seen in my life. This is crazy here.
Homegirl did not jump. I will push back on Alex's point. I actually really liked the corner rush spot. I always love the corner rush spot. It's
I have
like
a bunch of
it's
notes.
one of my
Most of
favorite
my notes
tropes.
is the corner rush spot.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tropes. Instead of like, so just a couple things I know from this. Hiroya Matsumoto killed her for some reason. like you could see that she was like, oh, that would really hurt. And then right before, I forget, Mika Ida ran up, who was her tag team partner in this match. Mika Ida ran up and instead of hitting her, just kissed her on the lips. And Kurihara was not prepared for that. Yoshihashi has some competition, I am afraid to say, even though they have like 17 million kids. So I don't think the competition was won by Mika Ida. And yes, some people that weren't even on the card did the
Yeah.
corner rush. Obviously, everybody that was on the card did the corner rush. But Mitsuki Taiyo came out, Nanai Takahashi came out, Io
Io
Shirai came
Shirai.
out, Fuka came out. They all did the corner rush spot. I want to say there was a couple more people that weren't on the card that did it, but it was just a really beautiful moment for me. I was like, oh, that's really sweet. That's awesome. Um, yeah, I really like that spot. I will say after that, I kind of was like ready for them to like get into like the wrestling, and they briefly did. Ayumi and Kong did some really fun stuff, but then they just kind of like regressed back into the like the weird like the comedy spots that didn't really hit as well because I was kind of ready for it to just kind of uh, go crazy to the finish instead of like the entire roster getting in and jumping Gami, and then Yu Yamagata accidentally getting jumped instead of Gami. Like that was weird. I didn't know why they did that at that point, but yeah, I've talked quite a bit about this. Alex, I think I interrupted you, so you can continue.
No, you just told me that I was wrong. I
Yeah,
don't think I
Yeah.
was saying anything. You just were like, no, shut up. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else. It
I
was
it's
good
a,
when it was good, and when it wasn't, it was boring.
then
it's
Xavi, you go.
it,
Or
it, it's okay. Because Dylan, ever since I called him dumb, he just skipped me going first for like the last 3 matches. So
yeah,
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, oh no.
Xavi, you
I'm
can
not.
talk when you want to talk. Go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean,
I ain't gonna feed it up to you.
most of my notes is like not about the actual match itself. It's mostly like side pieces and like some of the stuff that happened. So at the gummy part, I did mention that Akino, Mika, and Kurihara did the Kaintai DX Tower, which I always pop for
Yeah,
because I love that. I said I need Aja Kong to start mentoring a young powerhouse because it's gonna suck. We will just never see another wrestler like her again. She just does the little things in wrestling so well, and as
yeah.
her athleticism declined, she just found ways to make up for it. She's just Aja Kong's just the fucking best. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Tell them
She is. No,
to.
I totally agree.
They do spots where everybody come in and they do like the rush spot in the corner. And I said it gets absurd because Ayako Hamada just does like the RVD Rolling Thunder
Yeah.
and gets up and just slaps the shit out of Kirihara.
With the stance, bro. Like
Yeah.
you have to see the stance that she had on that. Like she was like deep squat and she sent it. It was
And then
crazy.
Io Shirai is here in regular people clothes to do a back handspring elbow for fun. And then somebody, I don't know who, does a fucking bicycle knee to Kirihara in the
Was that
face.
Fuka? Was
That
that
was
not
Fuka.
Fuka?
That was Fuka.
Yeah, I think it was Fuka.
Fuka hit the bicycle knee in the face, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, Fuka killed her. That was crazy. Like, Fuka, get your ass out of retirement now.
Yeah, you
That
need
was
to come
Fuka's
back. The
bitch.
streets need you.
That's what we need. We need to watch some more Fuka. That's another
Yeah,
thing on the
dude. Yeah, she's so
next
hard to
time,
find though.
Alex.
It's
Next
gonna
time
be
you're
annoying.
around, you gotta find the
The Jade
best Fuka
Star.
match you can. Yeah, find
Yeah,
the Jade
JD's
Star
card.
match.
That's asking a lot. I don't know.
The JD's card that doesn't suck.
Yeah,
Um,
that isn't 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I need to dive into the Mika Ida archives because based on the show alone, she's like top 5 wrestlers to ever do it.
Yeah.
The only person I've seen with a better basement drop kick while they're in the seated in the ropes than Kurihara was Sakushi because Kurihara has a really fucking good drop. The one she hit here, I forgot to who it was, but fucking killed her. I think it was Kong maybe. But
Probably.
fucking killed her.
That's who was getting most of the stuff was Kurihara
Yes.
and Kong. Like that was
Yeah.
when like the good stuff was happening was between them.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, that drop kick is still done by many people, but it just doesn't hit as good as when those two did it. Mostly because Sakushi would try to fucking run over your face.
Yeah,
So,
I always called that the windshield drop kick because it reminded me of like Saints Row 3, where you just like run up and fucking it's crazy. And she like personified that move. Like that is her move now. You know what I mean? Like and this is like one of the first time I've seen her, but that is like she's perfect at it. She's phenomenal at it. Just legitimately looks like she could break a windshield with her drop kick through the ropes. It's beautiful.
never did I think when we started this we would talk about Saints Row 3, but you know, here we are.
It's a good game.
It is.
Saints Row 2 and 3 are like two of my favorite open world games like ever.
I love 3. You got to do DDTs and shit. It was sick.
Yeah.
Bro, Killbane, crazy. What a guy.
Um, I said I think I need to like one of my final notes here is I think I just need to praise Asha some more because historically she just doesn't lose often, but she put over
That was
Kurihara in her
beautiful.
retirement match. She got of course, she gets absolutely nothing from doing this because I mean she's retiring, so fuck she gonna get from it. But she's just selfless. Like she ain't need to do this. She could have been like, well, I'm still wrestling, so I should just
Yes,
win.
I would like to note about that. Kong Ayumi never beat Kong in a singles match.
Well, she ain't do it here
They had
either.
they had 2 or 3. I know it wasn't, but quite frankly, I don't know if she's ever pinned Kong because there was a bunch of tags that they had that I'm sure at one point she might have pinned her, but I doubt it.
Oh
Uh,
no, I doubt it.
yeah, so this very well could have been Kurihara's first time pinning Kong, and it was a really beautiful moment.
Yeah.
It for the Shin Nihon freaks out there, it kind of was like a version of the Suzuki-gun final. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But where like everybody just like turns on Kong. Like they don't turn on her, but like I said, it was like the Suzuki-gun final where everybody just hit their finishers on Minoru Suzuki and then they pinned him. And it was like this very meaningful like passing of the torch thing that was like all beautiful. But the thing is that it happened on Kong instead, which is kind of funny because Kong's still going. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a really beautiful finish,
Yeah.
and it
You
it
know what?
ended. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what? I agree because this version of Gami reminds me a lot of Zack Saber Jr. Because I
Okay,
don't want to see
easy,
either.
easy, brother.
So,
Come on.
You
Nah,
know,
that ain't right. That's disrespectful to both of them.
no,
You compared
just
one of them
Zach.
to a British
Just
and
Zach.
one of them to. Yeah.
nah.
He
This is
deserves
just
it.
real. Nah,
He
it's
won't
just
see it. He
real.
doesn't have Twitter anymore. It's fine.
He probably doesn't even have social media, so it's fine. He ain't gonna hear it. I
Yeah, he had
mean,
to run away from those
New Japan
messages.
fans might storm our Twitter, but like Dylan's already got a head start on that, so I don't
I
have to worry
like
about
Zach, man.
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Oh, I wasn't
yeah,
talking
that's
about
a
that. I
you
was talking
problem.
about British people finding your tweet that you
Oh
made
yeah,
earlier this week.
yeah, they love that.
Um,
Curb stomp
but
those brovs.
I am mad I watched the ceremony because
Oh yeah, I have
there
notes about
was
the ceremony. We'll get into
there
it.
was no
Okay.
base god Yoshihashi, but Akira Hokuto did come out in full gear, which was kind of crazy. But
I feel like you've undersold the finish because there
Yeah,
was at least
well,
2 clunking headbutts in there.
Xavier did not
Like,
allow me to finish. Let me
yeah.
preface.
Okay.
Yeah, some crazy headbutts. Ayumi ate a Hurricane, right? So that was like when it like kind of like started. Was when like that finishing sequence was Ayumi ate her Hurricane. She kicked out 2, and Kong was like, okay. She took off her gloves. Like Kong took off her gloves. Was
yeah,
like, okay, now I'm gonna fucking kill you. Cool. And I think Aquino stopped her, and then Aquino stopped her. Hit a move. Uh, Mika Ida hit a move on her, and then Gami. It looked like they were going to do a miscommunication spot, but then Gami just like looked at Kong and just turned on her and was just like, we got to do this for the homegirl one time, you know. And then Nakagawa. The only note I have about her from this entire match, crazy lariat onto Kong, um, right at the end, and then Ayumi finally got her up. I think that's when she hit her with the headbutt, and then hit one last Uranagi to get the final win of her career in 24 minutes over Aja Kong.
Nagi on Kong is crazy.
It was beautiful, and Kong, to kind of save face, but also just in like a really beautiful moment. She could have kicked out because at 2, she raised her arm and just hugged Kurihara without lifting her shoulder and just like pat her on the back. And it was like just really sweet moment that was just like, obviously everybody turned on Kong to give Ayumi her moment, but even Kong like just like accepted it more
Hmm.
so than like, like she turned on herself in that way. And I thought that was a really beautiful moment overall. Great finish to a fun match, an all over the place match, but a fun match nonetheless.
It's a very charming.
Yeah, a very charming match, I would say, and a very charming finish to it. Like I said, in 24 minutes. Uh, if not the first time, one of the first times Kirihara ever pinned Kong. Uh, so it was a really sweet moment.
Speaking of the ceremony, did the
Yeah,
fucking promoter of Shimmer come out?
Yeah, yeah,
there are a bunch of
they
older guys
booked
here. Oh
Kurihara was
yeah,
there
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I know she was there a lot, but I was like, isn't this the Shimmer
Yeah,
person?
because I looked
Yeah.
at him. It was a white dude, so I was like, "What is this white dude doing here? Why is he getting a pop?" And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense." Yeah, a lot of people came out, right? I my first note was, oh my god, Hibiscus Mia's Apple Miyuki. That was my first note about the ceremony. But no, I like a couple names. So Mima Shimoda came out, Kiaru came out, Akira Hokuto in full gear. For a second, I didn't even know if it was actually Akira Hokuto, because I was like, "There's no way Akira Hokuto came out in full gear for this retirement match." Like, what, 12 years after her retirement? Like, that's crazy. Like, this is peak mom era. This is post Diamond Ring, isn't it? Isn't 2013?
Diamond.
Like, didn't it?
I'm actually not sure. I think Diamond Ring might. I'll look it up real quick, but I think it was 2014 they closed down.
Okay, this is like peak mother mode Akira Hokuto, and she comes out in full gear and like swings on fucking Ayumi Kurihara. For context, I'm pretty sure Akira Hokuto was like Kurihara's favorite wrestler growing up. I actually looked it up. So what happened was Kurihara's parents owned a restaurant, and the restaurant was like a heavy joshi sponsor. So the wrestlers would always always eat at the sponsored place, and so she was a big Akira Hokuto fan, and though she had to like this was like in one of her like descriptions, she had to work a lot harder because she was the sponsor's kid, and usually those have very bad reputations in that way. It's like, oh, so your parents pay the wrestlers so that you can get in the ring. It's like you don't do shit
Mhm.
type of thing. And obviously she proved that wrong. And yeah, so Akira Hokuto showing up was a big thing, as was Shimoda and Kiaru. And then my favorite part of the ceremony was Akino coming out. Well, Gami came out and she cried. Gami got the mic and like did a bit or whatever, and then just hugged her and just cried her eyes out, which was really sweet. But my favorite moment was Aquino coming out with the bag, with a sack, and giving Ayumi the M Style uh, championship as a parting gift. And I was looking for it. I don't know if they ever even had a proper championship in M Style, if they ever established one. Um, because it's hard to find any information on the company, but it was really sweet. As I said, on the ring, the main advertiser is M Style. Like, this is M Style kind of produced type of thing, and that was a really sweet parting gift. Despite the fact that and this is true, Ayumi only won one singles match in M Style ever, and it was her first singles match against Gami in early 2005. So that's kind of crazy.
Like
But
at the end of the company.
In fairness, they barely operated.
yeah,
Yeah.
M style didn't
there
last
was maybe
long.
there was maybe like 30 shows over 2
Yeah.
years. Like, it wasn't a very.
And Diamond Ring folded in 2014. Kitamiya got transferred to Noah. Nakajima continued to wrestle under the Diamond Ring banner until 2015, where he fully transferred to Noah.
Yeah, and then Kento left early, actually.
Kento left before they even
Yeah,
folded.
Kento left early. But yeah, I thought that Kira Hokuto coming out despite being in full mom mode was really sweet.
I mean, she was still active in the wrestling world technically because she was
Yeah, that's true.
running Diamond Ring. So,
But yeah, I thought this was a really sweet ceremony. Any notes on the ceremony before I kind of like go into like the last minute?
I just thought the M Styles belt being given to her was very charming.
Yeah, that was.
I don't even know if this belt actually was a thing, but
That's what I mean. Is that I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
I still think it's charming. It's a nice gesture.
Alex, any closing remarks on the ceremony, or any remarks at all on the ceremony? I don't even know if you watched it.
No, and you know me. This isn't my bag. I
See.
watch the wrestling.
You don't get it. But yeah, and then so yeah, it was a really sweet ceremony. Then they had a bunch of wrestlers do the 10 counts, do the ring bell, and half of them fucked it up. Kyoko Kimura was the first one that was like, I don't know how to do this. She was like, I think I'm gonna hit it like this, and it just fucked up, and everybody just started laughing. The whole crowd started laughing, and then Yumi just looked back like, what the fuck are y'all doing back there? Why are you fucking this up? So like that always like makes me like very like not sad, but like hits me emotionally. The whole 10 count and then the last call, but that was very funny. Was that like Gami just fucked up ringing the bell completely? And, like a bunch of people did, and it was really sweet. And then the last call, which happens all the time in Joshi wrestling, that even though I have learned everything I've ever known outside of the fact that she's married to Yoshihashi within the last week about Ayumi Kurihara. It brought a single tear to my eye because the last call always hits me in the fucking chest,
Yeah.
and it was really sweet. I think Joshi retirements are just like the most beautiful thing in wrestling. But that's the show. I think that's all there is to say about the show itself. Alex, I can tell you're getting antsy. I can hear it in your breathing. How did you feel about the show? Give me some of your match of the night, your worst match of the night, just how you thought about the show overall.
Oh boy.
Give it to me straight.
Yeah, I mean, as the one who chose it, I mean, there were worse shows to pick.
Yeah.
I think we got, 3 pretty solid matches though out of it. Match of the night is probably Ida versus Kurihara, although Hamada gave her a run for her money there. And yeah, worst match is obviously the Battle Royal. And yeah, I mean, there's better shows to pick, but I feel like getting to hype up Kurihara is really fun, and getting to kind of talk up people like Mika Ida and Aquino and Aja Kong and all is always something that I'm here for. So, maybe it wasn't the most amazing show ever, but I feel like we got to talk about some really cool wrestlers, and that's really all that you want to do these days, huh?
Yeah, totally. How about you, Xavi?
Yeah, I had a blast with it. I really have no complaints. My match of the night was the opener, and shouts out Mika Ida.
Hell yeah.
See, yeah, but my match of the night was, in contrast, it was Sari versus Hamada.
Well, I didn't ask you. No, I'm just kidding.
What the fuck? Jesus. No, I thought Sari versus Hamada was very good, and like we said, it's kind of like that prototype of what you want from a match like Sari versus Ayaka Hamada in 2013. So I was very happy with that. As Alex said, Battle Royal probably worst match of the night. But I wouldn't even say any of the matches were particularly like bad. Like even the Battle Royal was like fine. Like I thought there was some funny, charming bits of it. Me and Xavier usually do a grade rating. And I'm not sure where I fall on this one. I feel like this one might be the best show we reviewed just because of the consistency of it.
Yeah.
Like because Arjan had the Rie Tamada issue where she
sucks.
Yeah, she just sucked the life out of the show twice. And obviously altogether was just a very bloated, very large card, so it's kind of hard to have consistency there. So I would say this is probably the best match we've seen, or the best show we've seen so far.
Yeah, easily.
I'd probably say A, like A minus to A.
I give it A minus.
Alex, how you feeling on the grading system?
I mean, I'd say a B maybe. There's definitely like way better shows out there.
That's fair. I think that kind of evens out to A minus because I don't want to give it another B plus.
Yeah, we gave like the first two B
B
pluses, and this is where.
How the hell did you give all together a B
Which
plus?
yeah, in hindsight,
no way.
In hindsight, Altair is more probably like a B. But we want.
I'm pretty sure I didn't want to give it a B plus, but I just agreed with Dylan.
We can retroactively confirm that is a B if that would. I feel like that's probably smarter.
Okay.
Because I would argue that the Arjan show is probably better than it.
Yeah. No, we could bump that. I would honestly bump altogether down to a B minus for the issues that was a long Takashi Iizuka and Toru Yano tag match. And
it's crazy that happened.
Who let that happen?
In the semi-main event, mind you.
Well, the appeal was Muto and Kobashi teaming together, so like nothing else really mattered.
It wasn't
because the aura was
there
crazy.
Like a beauty to it, but like the fact that happened in the semi-main event was 20 minutes, kind of insane. So
basically, if it was any two other than Kobashi and Muto, that would probably be the worst semi-main in wrestling history.
Still wasn't good, mind you. But yeah, I would argue this is like an A minus, B plus, A minus around that area. I would have this a smidge above the Arjan show we watched last month. And yeah, I was very happy to watch it. Alex, thank you for being a guest on this episode of the No Limit Wrestling Show. I hope you enjoyed your time.
It was good.
Yeah, I think me and Xavi are better hosts than even we expected to be.
Well,
because this could have gone off the rails so many more times than it did, and it only went off the rails like 3 times. They're all at my expense somehow. Like, what the fuck's up with that? Like,
listen, you know what you're getting into with Xavier. I'm sorry. Like, this is why I don't communicate with this man. He is.
No, that's a lie. No, that is a lie. Maybe not like record a lot, but like, yeah, no, that's.
See, yeah, but I mean, like, I talk to you less than others because I'm afraid. It is,
Well, I generally don't talk to a lot of people outside of like Dylan and Scott, and
yeah,
it's usually because they're complaining about something and I agree.
See, yeah.
that's fair.
But yeah, I believe that's all there is to say. Like I said, I love Joshi retirement shows. I think that's like such there's a mystique to them that is
Nerd.
unlike anything else in the world. Shut up. Um, you piece of shit. I gotta record with you again tomorrow, and we are going in hot. Okay.
That's gonna be
You
fun.
should talk about Shoko Nakajima on the show tomorrow to make him mad.
I
No,
won't.
dude, no.
Yeah.
Neither of us like her.
That would make me like. I don't even hate Shoko, but it's just I don't want
She's
to talk
really
about her.
bad.
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about her. But yeah, the show is really great. Again, Alex, thank you for joining us and thank you for suggesting the show. I don't think me and Xavi would ever have even thought of watching this show otherwise. So I'm kind of happy that we did because it was a very fun and meaningful and like I said, it's kind of a time capsule of that era, that post Gaia era of Joshi wrestling before the Dark Ages fully ended. Um, so I was very happy to watch it. Again, thank you for joining us. That's all from me. That's all from Alex, I believe, unless you have closing remarks, Alex.
No, I'm good.
Then Xavi, take us home, buddy.
Fuck. Okay. Um.
That's
Okay,
it.
well,
That's
you
the end.
you
That's the
always
show.
you
That's the end
always
of
you
the show.
always close the show, and you specifically said you had a bit planned for the end of the show. So I was just gonna leave it to you. That's why, like, I wasn't
I
trying to
didn't
put you
have
on
a
the spot.
bit planned for the end of the show, but I can take it home. No worries.
Oh no.
I got this. Don't fucking worry, man. It's very, very,
Oh
very,
no.
very fine. It's like so fine. It's fine.
Most fine ever. The finest.
Oh, I know what
gonna
bit you're
read.
talking about. I don't know if I'm gonna do that though. That's a little out of pocket. I'm not gonna do it. I'll tell Alex about it off the afterwards. But I'm not gonna do that. But I will close it out. Next time we record, it will be with Scott, and I don't know what Scott's gonna pick because he doesn't know. Like I said, he almost suggested New Japan, and I threatened everybody around me because I'm not watching that. But yeah, and we have the next couple things lined up. I won't give away the other guests that we're having after that because I don't know if you want to talk about that or not, or if you've even asked or not. But we're also doing this. It's not a No Limit Wrestling show thing, but it's a
It'll
Best
be a
of Black
special.
Wrestling.
It'll be a no limit special.
Yeah, it'll be a special where we will take 6 matches from ACH's time in Japan and talk about them because ACH is the man and he fucking deserved the world.
Yeah.
But other than that, just go fucking check out all of our content. They're everywhere. Alex and Dylan are recording like every other day because they hate themselves, so you should listen to all their stuff they do.
It's true.
Yep.
Especially during this long tournament. The only thing that would have made me more excited is if Saki was in it because they would have suffered even more and it would have been the greatest time of my life.
Fuck you.
Follow me follow me on Twitter at Xaviisms 3 eyes. Hit my link tree. I put all my content in there because it's a lot easier than just plugging all of it. And I guess I'll just steal the ending that I already do is me and Dylan, and I guess to a degree, Alex, will continue to do our half-assed best, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do the Just 5 Guys gimmick, but I like that
no.
one.
Fuck you for ruining. All right, whatever, man. We're out of here. Dylan ruined it. Bye. We're out.
I have the control of ending the recording. You don't.
This is always how this is gonna
Arrivederci.
end.
Bye bye.